Looking for clarity and confidence when it comes to decision making for your business? You've come to the right place. You're now listening to the Atomic Business Coaching Podcast.
All right, Tommy.
What's going on, Adam? Here we go. Last episode of 2023.
I know, right?
That's Holy cow.
Yeah. Can't believe 2023 is over.
Oh my God, what a year it's been. We've just been, it just feels like flying through. You know, we had that extra week after Thanksgiving, and it's still like, oh, it's here, it's done, it's over.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's really like once school starts for my kids, it just then just speeds up. It's like lightning quick from that point to today. And I don't know if it's because I just want to get it over with. Like, oh my God, I got to do all this stuff and get to the end of the year. But I think that's usually the fourth quarter, and there's a lot of pressure, right? There's like closing out your year and figuring out what you're going to do next year and all these things. So that's usually like where it flies. But the first half of this year, it felt like it went on forever for me. I was involved in with so many things, and we had our Project 2740, which was wrapping up. And as I was looking back, because last year at this time, I tasked everybody who's part of that mastermind to give me their New Year's resolution, and it was a little bait to tell everybody, give me your New Year's resolution, and be like, you don't need resolutions, you just need to be better. Blah, blah, blah. It was a little trick I played on them. And then also I challenged them. I said, look, instead of waiting, whatever you just told me, why are you going to wait? Just start it off and do it now. And mine was all about pattern recognition.
Yes.
Take this entire year of 2023 to recognize all patterns better. Patterns in me, patterns in my clients, patterns in my businesses, patterns in the world, patterns in my children, my relationships, all of it. And I spent the weekend actually recapping all of them for myself. I bullet pointed them out. I had 45 different things, which was so cool. Like, I couldn't believe how much I recognized. And it's really allowing me to set the stage for 2024. And, I've had this mission, and it's more of just kind of my personal motto, which is health, wealth, happiness. And I realized a lot of what I did abandon that this year and didn't focus on it, or a little bit of both. So it really made me start thinking when I wrote that list down, like, okay, well, what am I doing for 2024? So I wanted to spend this episode talking a little bit more about goal setting and then kind of doing an analysis on what's needed. Right, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, 40 something patterns that you noticed. That's awesome. The level of self-awareness that comes from an activity like that is insane, isn't it? Like you saw so much about yourself and what you were doing, what you wanted to change, what you wound up neglecting, what you want to work on better. And that's what really this time of the year is. I mean, I love the new year because it really is a clean slate. And we talk about resolutions, and resolutions are just horseshit, frankly, people. Come on, let's be real. Like, if you want to make a goal, make a goal. Resolutions don't last. You should be resolved to keep on track with the goals that you've set and the goals that you want to achieve for the whole year, not a resolution that's going to be gone by Martin Luther King Day. I mean, that's when most resolutions are totally, nil. Like 85% of people have not kept up their resolutions at that point. But really, it's so important to have such a concrete discipline around the goal that you're setting for yourself. Like, you were so disciplined, Adam, in recognizing patterns, and you really made it part of your everyday and really looked at every situation and say, all right, what's the pattern? And we would look for patterns in a lot of people's behaviors and a lot of what people were doing. And it's so important when you have such a high level of intention. It's easier to set the goal and to keep and maintain the goal because the intention is there. So for me, goal setting and, all of resolution setting, whatever, it's about the intentionality that you put behind it. It's why are you looking at this and why is this important to you? So that's where I would just start off and kicking this goal setting off is why. Why is it important?
It's funny that you say that. So, because that's a good segue at another point. So we will definitely come back to why, and you'll see why. I'm going to talk about why later on. But something that I've done, and I think why I adhered to my goal so well last year, which was pattern recognition. It wasn't about anything else except I wanted to improve recognizing patterns better and figuring out how to use them and finding the advantage of them. And that's all it was. It wasn't like I want to make this or I want to do this it was just becoming better at a certain thing. So what I have all of our clients doing right now in all of our wrap-up meetings for the end of the year is to set the goal for 3 very specific things for 2024. So if you're listening to this, what I'd like you to do is consider doing the same exact thing. Okay. So the 3 things that I want you to set a goal for is, number 1, what's the goal for your business? Okay. One goal, not goals, plural, one goal. What's the goal for your business? Number 2, it's what's the goal for you as the business owner? And number 3, what's the goal for you as a person, as a mom or a dad or a husband or a wife or an athlete or whatever your hobby is? Just what is it for you as who you are? I believe that if you can set one goal, AKA one priority, okay, for all of 2024 for each of those 3 domains, okay, you can focus on them better and you will achieve something so rewarding for either yourself, for you as the business owner, or for the business, that if you just look at that one little difference, I'm not talking about, what are my year-end goals for money, or, how many clients do I have to bring on, or who do I want to hire, or, how are we going to expand the practice, or how are we going to grow, our geography of our business, none of that stuff. You're going to do that anyway, right? So I'm looking for you to find a new way to find something that, all right, how can I set this goal to adhere to like I did with pattern recognition? Sound good, Tom?
Yeah, I love it. I think, we always say set a goal for you as the owner, and sometimes people get caught up and make it the personal goal. But I love that it's really, you broke it down so beautifully. I mean, I know what my 3 goals are for this coming year, and I'm excited about them because I feel like they're already reinvigorating me in many ways. Right. So my goal for the business obviously is to get the number of retainer clients that you and I have set. That is the business goal. As the owner, it's for me to be much more consistent and routinized in what I do every single day in the business, because that is something that I've struggled with this year. And, I saw a motivational quote this morning. I've made you stronger this year. Next year, I'm going to make you happy. And I'm like, that's an interesting way to put it. And it's true. I feel like I've become stronger this year. And next year, I'm going to become happier because I'm going to be much more organized, routinized, and making things better for the business as the co-owner of our business. And then personally, I want to do a project a month. I have missed working with my hands so much this year. And I really want to set the stage to do a project a month. I want to do my laundry room. I have a few other things, the garage. I have a few projects that I really want to do. And I've not really mapped out every single month yet, but that's one of my plans to do over the next week, is to map that out, because for me, that reinvigorates me. And I neglected my hobbies this year. I neglected doing the things that make me happy. And it doesn't have to be like a massive project. It could be a Lego project, because I love doing Legos, and could be one of those kind of projects. But anything where I could work with my hands, it's going to be my personal goal to do something each month. So 12 projects this year. That's what I'm looking to accomplish.
I like that. What happens if you only do 10?
I think I'll be happy with that, because I got back into the swing of it. The goal is to get back. The laundry room may take me 2 months when I think about it. If I'm only giving like X amount of time on the weekends to it, it's going to take a little bit longer, but I'll be happy just working with my hands. But if I could
so I'm going to cut you off, and here's why I stopped you before. When you set these 3 goals, once you write them down, like Tom is so disciplined, he has done this and very well, and I didn't ask him to do this, and this wasn't scripted to like, hey, Tom, make sure you have this ready for this. So that's great that you have it. But now what you have to ask yourself is why. Okay, so I'm going back to that why you were talking about. So you set the goal for the business. Right. It's like, okay, after you write it down, you feel good about it, and you always will. Whatever goal you set, you're going to feel really good about it. You're going to get this dopamine hit, as we've talked about previous episodes, and you'll feel better in that moment than you actually will when you achieve the goal that you set out for, because you're so excited, and that's how the brain works, right? It's like, it's fight or flight, right? And you get all excited, like, let's go, right? Let's fight to get this goal. That's what happens in that moment. So you write it out, you feel all good, and then I want you to take a minute, turn it upside down, go for a walk, do whatever, come back, and then you're going to write next to it why.
Right.
Okay? And if it is not meaningful to you, then you have to change the goal. I had a guy, I was at lunch with him today, okay, and we're sitting there, long-term client of mine. I've helped him both personally and with his business, and we were talking about goals, and he had his brother in from London who is, he does something very similar to me. And he has this goal of this big project he's going to do next year, and he has to take on clients' money to do it and everything else. And I said, okay, well, what's the real goal? And he's like, $100 million. I said, but why? And he couldn't give me an answer.
Really?
He could not give me the answer. It was just this benchmark that was set up here. And we spent the next 15 minutes really getting down to why he wanted to do this. And then it started to make a lot more sense. And the number, while I think he can achieve it and exceed it, didn't really matter. And that's the way I want you to look at your goal. When you write this goal down for your business, like, and then you ask why, if it matters, you will have more passion and drive towards it if it's meaningful.
Right.
If it's not, it's just kind of something you picked out of thin air because maybe society or your parents or your partner or whatever it may be thinks like that's what you should hit. And we don't want you setting goals that are meaningless, okay? Because nothing will happen. It'll almost be like a New Year's resolution. We'll get through to February and be like, what was my New Year's resolution again? I forgot what I was working on.
What was that? Let's just do the same one this year.
Yeah.
And that's what people do.
I'm going to challenge you, Tom. So you want to do a project a month. Why?
Why? Because that's what makes me happy, is working with my hands and being creative and doing something outside of what I do every single day. And it's important for me to have that as part of my life. And I gave that up a lot this year. I've given it up.
So why is it important? And this, folks, I'm playing with Tom on the spot, so he has no prep for this. But this is what you should do with yourself, or ask somebody else to do this for you. Okay. So
and this is a good example.
Why is it important, Tom?
Why is it important? Because it allows me to be creative, and that makes me happy.
Why does being creative make you happy?
Because it allows me to think outside of normal boxes.
So thinking outside of normal boxes makes you happy and is important to you.
100%. Well, because I don't want to be limited by what my thoughts are every single day. I feel like you get caught when you're not thinking outside the box. You just go with the mundane, and it becomes routine and mundane, and then it just becomes an expectation. And when you think outside the box, it really is something that you can innovate and you can test and you can try differently. And there's excitement because there's a level of newness to it. And it reinvigorates that energy that maybe if you're caught in the mundane, you don't utilize. And I think that's one of the things I've lost this year.
So why don't you want things to be mundane and just get done? Why do you want them to be outside the box?
For me, because I want to do as much as I can in this life as possible. I want to experience a ton of different things.
Okay, so it's really about doing as much as you can and experiencing other things. It's not about the project.
No.
It's not important. It's you want to do as much as you can. Okay? You want to optimize who Tom Marino is as a human being, as a person.
100%.
And you want to get as much out and have experiences while you're doing that. So folks, this is what I'm saying. You asked that question, and the magic number, I don't know if we actually did it. We'll have to go back and listen, but it's usually 7 times. Ask yourself why 7 times in a row. So when you answer the question, ask it again, and go obviously off the previous one. But when you ask these 7 times why, you'll get down to the core. Now, if we'll go back and listen to it. If it wasn't, I'm going to ask you get up to 7 and see if there's any further another time outside of this podcast.
Yep.
But that's the idea. So when Tom what is it that you just realized by setting a goal for you, which felt really good, and now you understand why?
I just want to optimize who I am. That's what I realized. But all 3 goals go to that. All 3 goals they're all oriented. Now that I think about it, they're all oriented in the same direction at optimizing who I am. It's 1. To optimize Tom Marino. I'm going to be,
and you will start to find Optimus a theme. You will start to find a theme or a pattern.
There we
go. Why you are setting these goals.
Yep.
There is something deep down inside of you that you are just unfulfilled with. And you're setting this goal to fill yourself up with whatever that is. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm giving a lot of it away here. But this is what you'll go through. If you set those 3 things that are usually, as a purple collar business owner, super important, the business, you as the leader and the owner, and you, when you get to go home and do everything that you want to do, if you start looking at those, you will find there is already a harmony built into that. If you ask why, you'll find this running theme, this pattern throughout it. And once you know, like Tom just says, if he knows all he wants to do is optimize himself and have better experiences, that's it. Optimize and have better experiences. If he makes that his goal for 2024, I want to optimize and have better experiences. All those goals will be achieved through just optimizing and having better experiences. Would you agree, Tom?
100%. That's why.
Interesting, right?
It is. It's great. I mean, listen, when you set out those 3 goals, you don't realize what the pattern is. Like, yeah, but now that I can look back, I go, okay, we have to achieve the number of clients that optimizes us as a company. As an owner, I want to have better routines to get more productive work done. That optimizes me as the owner. And I want new experiences, more experiences to optimize me as a person and create. And that's the beauty of it. That's the theme. So for me, 2024 is that year of optimization. That's what it is. And
through better experiences though.
Exactly. Through better experience, which is all things, business, ownership, personal.
Correct.
It's all.
Now, it doesn't stop there. People usually set the goal and it stops. And, some people will go through and they'll like put a strategy in place and how am I going to do this? And that's all great. What I want you to do now is after you set the goal, okay, ask yourself if it's meaningful and then ask yourself why it's meaningful and go through that process. The next thing you're going to do is examine the overall needs. So Tom has to go through and say, well, what do I need to optimize? What do I need to have better experiences? Because if you don't start looking at the toolbox, you're not going to be able to do the thing you want to do. And if you are lacking the things you need to optimize, Tom, and you're lacking the things you need to have better experiences, then none of that's going to happen. None of the goals will be hit and you'll be miserable. So whoever is listening or watching this, it's the same thing. You have to now look and say, all right, what do I need? What are the things that I need? What are the things the business needs? What are the things the owner needs in order to achieve that goal through the meaningful why? And start writing them down. There may only be one thing you need. Okay. It may be as simple as I need more money. And that's where most people are going to go first. Yep. Almost everybody who's listening to this is going to go first to one of two things. I need more money or I need more time. Well, guess what? Both of them are in abundance. Okay. You can have as much money as you want and as much time as you want because you choose where you spend your time. And all you have to do is go make more money and you'll have more of it. But both of those things mean sacrificing something else.
Right.
Okay. So try to get past that. That's the thing that you need because we all need more of that. Okay. There's a lot of it out there and none of us have any of it, right? That's how we all feel. So get past the thing I need is money or time and really figure out like, what do I need? Okay. It may be for Tom to optimize. Maybe he needs to start looking at inefficiencies, right? For him to have better experiences, maybe he has to start working in different places, or maybe he has to start planning trips and places he's never gone in his life before, or who knows what it is. I'm sorry, I'm picking all on you, Tom. But
no, it's all good. No, that's what we're here for. This is a great example. Like this is what the process needs to be like. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I see that I need to be able to optimize. And there's plenty of need. That's why that's when I originally started my goal selection was, what do I really need to do? And the need is I need to optimize who I am. That's ultimately what came out of this. But it really is such an important thing to understand. Is there enough need? Because that could also bring a level of frustration when you're not achieving the goals. Because if you set a goal and you go, well, did I really need to do this in the first place? And that's what makes a lot of people lose sight of their goals and get frustrated and annoyed. And you have to make sure that you've identified that before or at some point in the process, whether before or after you've set the goal. What is the true need for that goal in your life?
Yeah. So what's the goal? Is it meaningful? And then what do I need to accomplish that overall? If you set that out, if you try to find the pattern and find one common theme across that, you'll just be more likely to do what's necessary to achieve the goal each and every day. And that's what really is the hardest part about achieving any goal is the thing that you have to do every single day to go ahead and achieve it. And it starts to get like frustrating when you're not hitting it, or when you're really successful, you add new responsibilities and new problems that you have to solve, or you get really exhausted because it's like the same thing over and over and over again. But if you have in the back of your mind, like there's a meaning behind this, I have the tools. I know why. It's easier to get through the really hard parts. Mike Tyson had one of the best quotes ever. He said, discipline is doing what you hate, but doing it like you love it. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to have to go through some stuff to achieve a goal, you're not going to love every part of it. Hopefully you love some of it, but you're not going to love every part of it. And when you have meaning and you understand why you're doing all this stuff, and then you have all the tools that you need, it just makes that suck so much better. Right. So I don't know. I think this is a great way to wrap this year up, set your goals, move forward. And remember, you can reach out to us anytime when you need help. There's ways to schedule complimentary meetings with Tom and I. We have a free Facebook group that you can come join in there. We do a Q&A every Tuesday and every Thursday. That's no charge. We'll answer any of your questions and your topics in there. We have our books out on Amazon, and you can go to our website. There's a lot of new, incredible things happening. As a matter of fact, we have some workshops coming out with the 90-day sales plan to really help people narrow down, almost like we're saying with our goals, narrow down, what are you going to do for certain areas? What's the meaning? And we're going through this whole different way to think about your 90-day sales plan so you can make as much money in the next 12 weeks as you have in the last 12 months. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I'm Adam, and I work on the business.
I'm Tom. Excuse me. I'm Tom. I work on the owner.
You're not excused. Together, we are Atomic Business Coaching.
And we're in the business of helping purple collar professional owners.
See you in 24.